morning. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. We're going to talk mostly football today, but obviously the Orioles did finish off the sweep of the Nationals. Exist. And their hopes alive. They're within 4 games for a wild card spot. Of course, the team they're now chasing is no longer the team they have all the games in hand with, because the Rays are the team that's now kind of fallen of that group. So, unfortunately, they don't have the same opportunity to try to handle business against that team. But if they can handle business against the Blue Jays, it's not totally insurmountable. It's just still unlikely. Look, get back to me on Monday. Come Monday, the Orioles swept the Blue Jays, and suddenly they're within 2 games of a playoff spot. Then party up. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. What is going on? What the hell is happening?
Literally, right as we started, they put up a ladder next to the side of the building.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? Right as we were starting the show. Why wouldn't they? Can you tell what they're doing on that ladder?
Right. All right, the guy's going up for the first time. You need to do play-by-play.
Kind of do.
He's wearing a neon green shirt.
Right.
Kind of like it.
Yeah.
He's got a hat on, sunglasses on top of the hat. The other guy that is helping him is just standing behind him yawning.
That's
so he's not awake yet.
Very helpful.
Now he's going up.
Yeah, but like you can't tell what they're doing.
No, I can't tell what they're doing.
Okay.
I guess they're trying to get to the roof.
Just awesome timing. Won't be distracting at all during the course of the show. Dope. Hey, see Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events in March. Maryland 5-star at Cherry Hill. Presented by Brown Advisory, October 15th through 16th in Cecil County. Coming up on the program today, we will catch up with John Congemi, one of my favorites. Baltimore Stallions quarterback. Obviously, Tracy Ham was the primary quarterback. Congemi was his backup. He's now at MiamiDolphins.com. We will preview what it is that we see from the Dolphins. Will they go with all those cover zero looks again like they did so successfully a year ago when they turned things around? How has Tyreek Hill changed what they do offensively? We will discuss those things. Speaking of Ravens-Dolphins, Kevin Harlan, the icon, he's going to be on the call for Sunday. He is one of my favorite. Not only am I a Kevin Harlan stan, as the kids like to say, not only do I love, the kids still, is stan culture still a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can still say that.
The Nicki Minaj people certainly still appear to be stans. Jesus, that's toxic. Not only am I a massive Kevin Harlan fan, it just so happens to be that after acknowledging my Kevin Harlan fandom, Kevin Harlan turned out to be one of the nicest humans that's ever come into my life, and regularly takes time for us, despite the fact that, he's one of the most popular and famous broadcasters in the world. I'll pull the curtain back. We had to record it yesterday. I had to edit it down because it was a 30-minute conversation. A little bit about him, obviously a lot about the game, and he's Kevin Harlan. You're going to listen because he's Kevin Harlan. As you guys know, he and Ian are probably the two that I'm closest with. Although I feel bad saying that because Jim Nantz has been so giving of his time over the years. Like, we've been blessed, and because the Ravens are on CBS so much, I've gotten to know those guys over the years. And it's not that I don't love Jim, but those guys to me are the best of the best. Harlan and Ian are outstanding. And it's not like Jim isn't very good. I think Jim's very good. I think he's the greatest golf broadcaster you could ever ask for, and I think I think those guys. I don't want to get myself in trouble. Those are my guys. Those are my guys, and Kevin Harlan's going to be with us this morning. We will make our picks this morning as well. KZ will check in, and we will make picks for week 2. Griffin did not come up with something that we could run it back to have a side bet with for this week.
You told me not to force anything.
Don't force it. I agree. Don't force it. This is not me chastising you.
Let's make an alligator. Let's make alligator.
If you can do that, I am not putting the effort into it.
If you lose, you are.
No, I'm not. That's what I'm letting you know ahead of time. If I lose, you still have to be in charge.
Okay, well, it's a lose-win no matter what for me.
No, I'll still be the one eating it.
Yeah, but you said the alligator might not be that bad.
It's fine.
And I got to put in all the work to make it. Go find alligator.
Bro, I don't have the bandwidth. That's where we are. I could have made a mayonnaise pepper sandwich because it doesn't require all that much. come up with one, we'll do another side bet. That's the way that it will go. All right, so that's all coming up on the program today. Plus, it's Thursday. That means that we get to Weekend at Bookies a little bit later on in the show as well. I guess it's not every Thursday. We do it every other Thursday. And this is a Weekend at Bookies week. As far as the Orioles, again, I don't have a ton to say. It's neat that Gunnar Henderson has been a rock star. I mean, we're all saying the right thing and saying, hey, is it unfair to ask someone who's 21 years old and has never played in the major leagues to come up in the middle of a playoff race and lift up your offense? Well, as it turns out, the answer, I guess, is yes. Like, it is fair. Can that continue for the rest of the season? I don't know. Will it matter? Again, I still don't know. But it's cool to see what Gunnar Henderson is capable of being. It's really cool to see that Gunnar Henderson's going to have the opportunity to be a high-level major league hitter. And you can tell why it is that guys like Jim Bowden are so high on Gunnar Henderson. Like, you can see he is insanely talented. So I don't really have a whole lot more to say. Tyler Wells went, one more inning? He went 4 innings last night. Yeah. So, okay.
I mean, they can keep stretching him out. And then
yeah, again, if the games matter, then
right.
That's a good thing. And I mean that. Like, there is a world in which the games end up mattering, and if they do, if Tyler Wells is back to being able to pitch 6 innings.
Austin Voth getting some rest. Just a nice inning out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of that, but I get it. Like, you had 2 days off. This is why 2-game series are so insanely stupid. You just have one of these weird weeks.
I feel like the players don't mind them.
I'm sure they don't, but it's still weird to have 2 days off in a week, and it does make you have to readjust what it is that your plans are pitching-wise, because you're going to ultimately end up having to ask somebody to pitch on 7 days rest if you keep the rotation as is. It's just kind of a weird thing. I was told when we were talking about Grayson Rodriguez that the plan was for him that, like, the rehab portion of what he's doing is over. He's now just pitching again in Norfolk. So, I ask, okay, I guess to stretch him out, like, I get, but is he going back? Is he going into the rotation? Like, I'm still confused as to what the strategy, what the thought process is with Grayson Rodriguez. Not that I think that, again, singularly, he's the difference. He's going to start again Friday, apparently, for Norfolk. So, I guess he could be available after that. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it with Grayson Rodriguez. But, I mean, would it be neat to see him next week at home? Yeah, it would be. If he's ready, if you believe he's a better option than the guys that you have in somebody that you have in your rotation already, I probably would have just had him pitch out of the bullpen for the rest of the season. That probably would have been my strategy, and not prioritize stretching him out. Like, second guessing, I get it. I understand that, but and again, he can't help them score more runs. I don't think. I mean, that would be news if Grayson Rodriguez could do that. That would be significant. What a storyline change that would be if Grayson Rodriguez's arrival led to them scoring more runs, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And then the other big news this morning, of course, is in my world, Roger Federer announces his retirement from tennis. Will play in the Laver Cup, which is kind of a made-for-TV event that he put together a few years back. It's a Team Europe versus Team World, and you're not going to believe this, but Team Europe has been dominant in this event. Because they've got Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray and Roger Federer. They've kind of whooped up on Team World's asses. Although this year we got Francis Tiafoe, so see how that goes. He's going to play in that, and I get it. Obviously he's been dealing with injuries, and he's not been able to be Roger Federer for some time. The disappointing part, of course, being that you would have loved to have seen Roger Federer have a send-off tour, or at least a send-off at a slam, similar to what we got with Serena Williams. He chooses his own event for doing it, and part of that is probably because I don't even know how much singles he's going to play at the Laver Cup. It might be that it's just easier for him to go and try to play some doubles, and if they get a big lead, then maybe he could get through a singles match on Sunday, and I don't know what his strategy is going to be for how much he plays at this event, but it's his event. This is his baby, so I can understand he had committed to playing in this thing some time ago. He decides he can't do it any longer, but he wants to play in his event, and I get that, and that's certainly well within his rights, and nobody should tell someone how it is they retire. Yes, for the sport, it would have been nice if he would have said, and then I'm going to try to go to Australia, and I will try to get through to allow for the sport to have a bigger moment to celebrate Roger Federer. The Laver Cup, inevitably, most people in the world still don't know what it is. You got to be a really ardent tennis fan to care. So that's a bummer, but you definitely don't second-guess Roger Federer. He has every right. As far as what Roger Federer's legacy is within the sport of tennis, two things jump out. One, consummate gentleman, one of the most respected humans in all of pro sports in Roger Federer. It's not like he didn't have outbursts. I mean, you can find Roger Federer outbursts on the court. They did occur. They didn't occur nearly as much because he won a lot, and so there was no real reason for him to have the outbursts. But there's this thing that we do conveniently when we bring up someone else's outbursts and we pretend like that isn't part of the sport. One of the things I constantly talk about with tennis is you cannot understand it as someone who follows it casually. You can understand parts of it, but what you can't understand is the isolation of not being able to talk to someone for hours at a time. I've always encouraged people, if they want to understand tennis, to go read Andre Agassi's book. And I'm sure there are other books, other tennis players that have written, at length about it, but Andre's was the one that really made me understand it. And it made me understand why it is that I could play tennis, but I might never have been able to go to some sort of next level. I'm there for the camaraderie. I'm there because I want to, shoot the ass with my buddies or whoever it is that I'm playing against. And at the highest competitive levels, and even not at the highest competitive levels, at higher competitive levels, that's not an option. You are alone. You are isolated. And there is no sport like it. Even other individual sports. In boxing, what do you do at the end of every round? You go to a corner.
Yeah.
You talk to somebody. In golf, who's walking with you for the entirety of the event? A caddy. Someone for you to talk to. That doesn't happen in tennis. There's no one to talk to. That's the reason for outbursts. That's the reason for theatrics, is because the concept is insane. You're isolating a human being.
Can I ask why they do that? Like, why they don't want coaches on the sideline?
It's such a hot button issue. Like, the suggestion has been to introduce coaching to tennis in recent years. The WTA did. The ATP has gone down that road, and people hate it. These purists within the sport hate it. Well, this is an individual sport.
So is boxing. So is MMA. So is, yeah.
I've never understood the furor towards it. And I think it would go a long way towards cleaning up some of the stuff you don't like. The Nick Kyrgios stuff. Not all of it, but it would go a great length towards taking some of that stuff out of the sport. Some of it. Novak Djokovic hitting a lady with a ball in the neck a couple years ago at the U.S. Open and sort of making the tournament a joke because he got defaulted. That type of stuff, it would go a long way. But Roger Federer has done that. You can find videos of his outbursts. It happened. It just didn't happen nearly as much because, again, he won so frequently. One of the greatest champions, obviously, in the history of sport. The GOAT debate, which is irrelevant, passed him by. Roger Federer raised the I wrote this morning on Twitter. It's hard to tell which is more preposterous, how significantly Roger Federer raised the level of the sport or how quickly it was matched or surpassed then afterwards. I don't know which is more preposterous because Roger Federer was so much greater than anything that we had ever seen, And then quickly, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic were better than he was. Which is insane. I mean, it's insane. There will always be people that, because they like Roger Federer the most, will say, well, to me, Roger Federer is the greatest of all time. And because there's no you can't prove these things, they are entitled to their opinion. The objective evidence suggests, no, that's not the case, because these guys were better than he was, and they did that head-to-head. But I've got no problem when you're talking about three eternal greats just saying, hey, to me, I think this guy was, and having your opinion about it. That's well within your right. An incredible champion, humanitarian, really a true gentleman within the sport that always was trying to lift up the entire sport of tennis. He will be badly missed within the sporting community, and he was, must-see TV. When Roger Federer was playing in a slam final, even the casual tennis fans would say, I've got to watch that on a Sunday. I've got to see that. So he will be badly, badly missed. And, of course, was involved in some of the greatest matches in the history of tennis. The one that everybody believes is the greatest match of all time, of course, is the Nadal-Federer final at Wimbledon. But, even his final against Djokovic, his final against Roddick at Wimbledon, that being the one that he won, the one against Djokovic he lost, the one against Nadal he lost. To me, I think the Del Potro match that he lost in the final of the U.S. Open was one of the great matches of all time. But, what a career, remarkable, incredible run for Roger Federer, who announces his retirement today. When we come back in, we're going to preview the Dolphins. John Congemi, MiamiDolphins.com. And a man who knows a thing or two about Baltimore is going to join us. Coming soon, the Ginsu Kamado Grill, the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all kinds of food. Get the details and reserve yours today at GinsuGrills.com. Glenn Clark Radio.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn, over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with Pressbox and Great Ace Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And, of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, September 20th at Skipjack's Crab Deck in Middle River. It's brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Grill and Maryland Vascular Specialists.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens tight end Mark Andrews' path to NFL stardom, from his late decision to play the sport full-time through having to overcome type 1 diabetes and more. Also, inside, we introduce you to football players at Maryland, Navy, Towson, and Morgan State. And we give you everything you need to know for betting football this season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of demos, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Academy, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Don't miss the breathtaking excitement of the dynamic cross-country competition or the elegance of dressage and precision of show jumping. There's also great shopping and activities, including a fresh food fest, corgi race, and a beer, wine, and spirits showcase. So come enjoy a beautiful fall day at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th. Learn more and buy tickets at maryland5star.us.
The Maryland Lottery presents Ravens' Greatest Plays. 2001, the big one. New York had just scored, and momentum was on their side when the Ravens returned the ensuing kickoff 84 yards for the touchdown that cemented their first world championship. Another great Ravens play belongs to Beth of Riverdale. Beth played Ravens scratch-offs and won a chance to travel with the team to an away game. You could be next. Play Ravens scratch-offs with instant prizes up to $100,000. And please play responsibly.
If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
Boy, that seems mean-spirited. Hey, just talking about the all-new Ginsu Grill, Mother's is throwing another tailgate party right next to the stadium at Hammerjack's on Russell Street. Come by this Sunday starting at 9 a.m., and before, during, and after every Ravens home game, it's free to get in. There's also an all-inclusive option for $49 with premium brand open bar and great food. Tickets and details are at hammerjacks.com. And while you're there, don't forget to stop by the Pressbox Ginsu Grill's tent for free samples and contests. Ravens-Dolphins indeed coming up on Sunday. It's always a pleasure to catch up with an old friend. Now at MiamiDolphins.com, but once upon a time, he was here in Baltimore. He is former Baltimore CFL quarterback John Congemi, and he's with us once again on GCR. John, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Glenn. Appreciate it.
Do you make the trips? Are you going to be up here on Sunday?
I will not be. Usually when the Dolphins are on the road, I would have loved to have been up in Baltimore this weekend, but when the Dolphins go on the road, we go in the studio for our pregame and postgame shows.
Sure, and that's what
I'll be down in South Florida.
Same story with me. Same story here. That's a bummer. I was going to see where it is that you had to get to while you had 24 hours in Baltimore. If anything was still here from when you were here back in 1994. Hey, John, a couple things that I think stand out to me most as I look at this matchup. The obvious is the comparison to what happened a year ago. And the Dolphins kind of set the Ravens season into a tailspin last season with this cover zero defensive attack that they showed and that kind of flummoxed and really panicked Lamar Jackson, and then other teams copied it until he got hurt. Should we expect this season that we're going to see basically the exact same thing from the Miami Dolphins defensively?
I would think so. I would think you're going to see a flavor of it. You know, it's pretty hard to disguise when you're in that coverage, when there's no one in the middle of the field and the defensive backs are all basically at the same distance away from the receivers. But you could also come out of those types of things and make you check to a certain play for Lamar that he might not want to get into if it's now a zone coverage instead of a man beater in terms of route running and protections and things like that. So there might be more disguising involved, I would think, this year if I'm Josh Boyer, the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins, and maybe put some hesitation or some doubt into exactly how much they're going to lean on pressuring Lamar. I mean, It did happen last year. It was very successful, but you would think that the Ravens and John Harbaugh and that offensive staff, they would have figured something out to combat that, at least have a better plan moving into it so they can combat it so it doesn't get contagious not only for week 2, but week 3, 4, and 5.
It sounds like what you're talking about is sort of the ultimate chess match, right? Like you think this is what we're going to do, and we want to make you think that this is what we want to do, but then we want to do something completely different that you're not prepared for, which I guess inherently is what football is, right?
It is. You want to create some sense of doubt. I guess when you're a quarterback and you have no doubt and you react to what you see, you can get to places on the field where you think, hey, we have an advantage, or we may have a mismatch in man-to-man if it's not a pure, sellout blitz. But when you create hesitation and doubt, especially on offense, it gives that defense that extra second or two to either pressure the pocket, to, make up some deficiencies in coverage. The ball comes out maybe a little bit earlier, or it doesn't come out, and you create havoc with fumbles and strip sacks and things of that nature, where you're behind the chains if you get a sack or you're scrambling and have to throw the football away. You see a lot more 3-and-outs that way. So That's what your job is on defense, trying to create some sense of doubt, hesitation that gives the defense always an advantage.
So, John, you know what fascinates me is we saw what played out in Cleveland this offseason, and when it was clear that the Browns were trying to move on, it became untenable, their situation with Baker Mayfield. We saw something similar kind of occur in Miami, right? Like it was pretty clear the Dolphins were trying to upgrade at quarterback, and yet it doesn't seem to be the same level of awkwardness. Maybe that's just because we're not there. Maybe you would tell me, hey, it was a bit more uncomfortable. Why not? What's unique? Of course, we got to know that the Tagovailoa is a little bit up here because Leah is at the University of Maryland. But why was it not as awkward with Tua? And is there anything maybe we don't know about that situation?
I don't know if it definitely wasn't awkward for Tua, I don't believe, because he knew he was moving on if he was going to stay to a different coach. And I don't think the rub was very good between Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa, right? They didn't get along. There was no hesitation, no secret. And you could read between the lines when Tua would speak now in terms of what he said then. The way that he's being coached now is probably a lot friendlier than the way he was being coached then. And certain guys take to certain ways of being talked to. It seems like Tua's not a guy that you can yell at, or Tua's not a guy that you want to raise your level of doubt in his ability, where he needs a pat on the back. You know, certain other guys, the more you would cuss at him or the more you would be hard on him, the harder they would work to prove you wrong. So I don't think it was known as everybody knew that they were trying to upgrade, but Tua is such a good guy in terms of the way he treats the media and the way he treats his teammates, and he's just a good person. I don't think it ever got personal from the media trying to go after Tua. They were just talking about what happened on the field. So I think for him, he was able to move on a little bit easier because of he knew change was coming in terms of either he wasn't going to be here or he was going to have somebody that he was going to be able to work with a lot more easier in terms of practice and then game days on Sundays than he had in the past.
He is John Congemi, former Baltimore Stallions quarterback, and now MiamiDolphins.com. He's with us here on GCR as we get ready for Ravens-Dolphins coming up Sunday at 1 o'clock here in Baltimore. John, what has the addition of Tyreek Hill? Obviously, you bring in, one of the, most explosive athletes in all of football. It's going to add layers to your offense. What specifically has it done for Tua? What has it done for the Dolphins' offense? And how much more dynamic do you think they're going to be? Clearly, there's a Jalen Waddle on the other side. I mean, there's the possibility for this to be one of the most electric offenses in football, I would think.
I agree with that. And I think it's done everything, not only for the offense, but for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I don't know. As bad as New England played in week 1, I don't know if the Dolphins win that game that easily without having Tyreek Hill on the field. I mean, he was targeted, I believe, 12 times. He had, I think it was 8 for 94. He was in motion. He was the reason why the Dolphins were able to move the football so efficiently without running it, really. I think the Dolphins ran for 21 yards in the first half. I don't think it was overwhelming for the game. Maybe it was around 60 or 64, if I can recollect. But having Hill on your football team gives you a chance to beat your chest and go, we're just now a lot better than we would be without him. And it helps Jalen Waddle, and it helps, the offensive line because you're not holding on to the football because he's creating such separation even before the ball snaps. Guys are backing off the football, and it's giving him much more room to get open, and he doesn't need a whole lot to start with. So for me, I don't know if, the Dolphin defense carried the day. There's no doubt.
Right.
But I don't know if the Dolphins win the game if it wasn't for Tyreek Hill wearing, number 10 and playing for the Dolphins.
There was a lot of talk in the fantasy community about what is, the Dolphins have all these backs. What's it going to look like? And, kind of similar to the Ravens, although the Ravens don't have their guys back yet. They didn't really seem to get the run game going in week 1. What do you make of how that's going to play out, what that might look like on Sunday and moving forward? How do they get their run game going to meet what it is they should be able to do in the pass game?
It's going to be hit or miss. with the Dolphins running the football. I think it's going to be like a roller coaster. Some weeks you're going to go, wow, the Dolphins are back. Now they've got a two-way go where you can run the football with ease. You can throw it on the perimeter with two of the fastest receivers in the league with Waddle and Hill. And then other weeks are going to be like last week where the Dolphins are going to struggle. They were nicked up front in terms of injury. Teron Armstead went out for a couple of series. You had his replacement come in and Greg Little go out. Robert Jones was another replacement up front who was limping around. So it's all interconnected always with scheme and how you want to run it and play action and how good you are basically up front. I think that's what it comes down to. And the Dolphins have improved on their offensive line, moving and getting in the free agent department Connor Williams from the Cowboys, who was a guard. Now he starts at center. I think Hunt and Austin Jackson. You mentioned I mentioned guys that got nicked. He got nicked in the game.
Yeah.
And they have question marks going in. So I think this offensive line has been a question mark, I guess, for the last 10, 12, 15 years. Dolphin fans are going, when are we going to have to just not worry about the offensive line? I think that's still an issue, and I think the Ravens, that's something their front four, front seven can take advantage of, especially putting the onus on Tua. Okay, now we've stopped the run. You go ahead and try to beat us by yourself.
We like the sounds of that, by the way. We do like the sounds of that. The Ravens' defensive line was dominant against the Jets albeit, again, the Jets in week 1 and Joe Flacco. I mentioned the Tagovailoa connection. Can you just tell me a little bit about, how Tua has taken to all of this? You talk about the change in coaching, but being kind of under the spotlight and obviously the pressure that comes with adding in a Tyreek Hill and how he's handled all of that because, getting to know his brother and getting to know Leah, he's just so even keel. Like, you just don't really get anything too high, too low. They're very grounded. Obviously, their father has had a significant role in their life. How has Tua taken to all of the pressure that comes with, hey, we're giving you the kingdom. There's some expectations here, but, it's still in the same division as Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, and it's still in the same conference where there seems to be about 100 loaded teams in the AFC this year.
Yeah, you're right. Listen, Tua's a great human, okay, first of all. He's a great kid, great person to talk with. His teammates love him. And he's been in the spotlight. He's probably been the best kid on his team since he was, 8, 9 years old? This pressure is not all of a sudden something new to him. He had it in high school, I'm sure, as you're the best quarterback in high school this year. You're the best quarterback at Alabama, not only at Alabama, but in the country potentially, right? And then all of a sudden now you're thrusted in. You're the 5th pick overall, and you got to be one of the best in the National Football League. I think what's helped Tua come out of his shell a little bit is who they have around him. They have guys now that, they are talkers. And for Tua to be the same way he was in high school or college might not work. The spotlight is a little bit brighter, but he has to kind of chirp back at some of these guys. And I think that's helped him create some outward confidence. He's always had the belief in himself, but sometimes you have to get into the fray and be able to talk the talk and then walk the walk, right?
Yep.
So I think it's helped him be a leader, not only leader by example, but sometimes, rib some guys, get out and say something to a defensive back at practice, like, hey, man, I'm using you like a credit card. Whenever I want to pull it out of my pocket, I got you, And that verbal exchange kind of gets that bravado of an offense that needs a leader other than Tyreek Hill, who's always going to talk. You need your quarterback to be that guy sometimes, and I think that's brought him a little bit out of his shell, and he's comfortable in that new image, I guess. He's still going to be his guy,
right,
and have his principles, but I think that has really broadened his scope of things, where if he makes a mistake, hey, it's no big deal. We get the ball back. It's going to be 7-7 instead of, oh, no, what could happen now?
Wow.
So I think that's helped him.
That goes a long way. There's no doubt. That goes a long way. John Congemi, MiamiDolphins.com. By the way, note, just so everyone knows, Leah said that he probably was going to be at the game on Sunday, so that'll be neat for him and for that family to have
Nice.
Talia be
That'll
able
be
to
great.
attend the game on Sunday, which is cool. At John Congemi on Twitter is how you follow him, MiamiDolphins.com. John, really appreciate you, as always, taking the time for us. Looking forward. This should be a good test on Sunday. Looking forward to this one. Thank you for joining us this morning, and let's do it again next time these teams get together, all right?
Absolutely, Glenn. Always a pleasure, bud.
John Congemi, former Baltimore Stallions quarterback, checking in with us ahead of Ravens-Dolphins coming up on Sunday. Stan the Fan has had a busy week. Earlier in the week, he and Ross Grimsley caught up with Jim Duquette, and then he did sort of an exit interview show with Terry Hasseltine and the folks that put together the Maryland Cycling Classic just to put the final touches on the inaugural event. You can find all of that at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the videos tab. Go to youtube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video and find it all there. We had to do this, as I mentioned. Unfortunately, I had to do it yesterday just because of how his schedule worked out and preparing for travel and getting ready to come to Baltimore this weekend. But we would do whatever time Kevin Harlan needed in order to spend some time with him, and we spent a lot of time with him. Wonderful conversation with CBS's Kevin Harlan right now here on GCR. Always a pleasure to welcome in our next guest. Man, I love that. Anytime I get a message that this man is about to call a Ravens game, I know I'm going to have the most electric duo in all of sports. And with no offense to Trent Green, who's very good, the real most electric duo in sports is this man and Lamar Jackson. They make magic together. He will be on the call Sunday for Ravens-Dolphins on CBS. He is our great friend, Kevin Harlan, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Kevin Harlan, always a thrill, always an honor. Thank you for taking the time, sir.
Glenn, thank you as always for the invitation. Appreciate your kind words and can't wait to get to Baltimore tomorrow and watch the newest edition of Lamar.
Well, look, there's so much I want to cover with you. I had a question that was posed to me. I mentioned that you were going to be on the show, and I had a listener who reached out and said, do you think that when Kevin does a game, he is hoping for something crazy to happen, or do you think he would rather just have a nice, relaxing, let's get through a broadcast and get on to my next one type of game? And I said, that's a pretty good question. I'm going to pose it to him. So, Kevin Harlan, we associate with you with a lot of wild moments, legendary calls of drunk fans, things like that. Are you rooting for crazy things to happen during the course of a game, or are you the type that says, man, this is a job, I just got to get on to the next thing?
Oh, no, it's not a job. I get to do this. That's how and I know you feel the same way, Glenn, about your show and being in sports. We're lucky to be doing this, and I think that whenever you can call a game that features players like Tyreek Hill or Lamar Jackson, what a great opportunity to try to frame their incredible athletic feats in hopefully a very competitive game. I root for the game, and I root for CBS and our broadcast, that everybody on our crew, we have so many people that travel to these games, that I root for everybody to have a great day and that we present it fairly. We did the Bills and the Rams, Glenn, the other night on that Thursday opener
Not a bad
in LA.
start. Not a bad start to the season for you.
Yeah, that was a pretty good way for the league to open up, and some guy ran out with a pink smoke bomb. And we've seen now all these guys run out there and weird things happen. And no, I don't want weird. I want just a good game. And more importantly, I want a good game from CBS, that both sides, Ravens, Dolphin fans, feel like their team was treated properly and fairly. And I just hope that it's a good way to spend a Sunday afternoon. But I don't root for anything except just let me do the best that I can with a little prayer before I go on. I just want to be as good as I can be, because I think I owe that to my employers, and I certainly owe it to the people that watch Ravens games and Dolphins games.
Well,
but I do enjoy being at that stadium. I really do.
I'll speak on everyone's behalf when I say you've done that quite well, sir. It struck me that I saw this was your 25th season of calling NFL games for CBS, and you've done so many things in your broadcast career. Can you take me back 25 years, Kevin Harlan? Like, how did you think you were going to be able to do this for the rest of your life? Were you like, man, I just hope that I can get through a season and figure out where it goes from there? Where were you in your world 2.5 decades ago?
Well, I had just joined CBS from Fox. I had been at Fox when they first got the rights. And then before that, I had done 9 years of the Kansas City Chiefs on their radio network.
Right.
And so this is really my 38th consecutive year of doing NFL play-by-play, and it is my 12th or 13th doing Monday night. And so I, like, the NFL for me is like the best possible broadcasting job for me. I love play-by-play. I love the pace of the NFL. I love the excitement. We were in Seattle on Monday night with Denver and the return of Russell Wilson playing Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks, and a weird ending and a thrilling game and a loud stadium. So it never gets old. And I see something each game that I didn't expect to see. And there's nothing routine about it, because something happens on every play that's worth talking about. Even a 2-yard gain or a 2-yard loss, something has happened on every play. And that's the beauty of football. There are so many moving parts on the field with interchangeable parts for every play. And that's what just constantly changes the scene and the picture. Like, you can't exhale in a game. And so I learned that lesson, when I first started in 1985, when I was 24, doing the Kansas City Chiefs. I write at the top of I may have told you this before, Glenn, I write at the very top of my score sheet, any play and every play. Any play could be the play, and every play deserves, a good setup, and you are ready to fire. You're ready to let it rip. And some plays, just a simple incomplete pass. Other plays are breathtaking. Bateman catches a big pass.
Yep.
Lamar does some acrobatic move. You just don't know when that play is going to happen. But if you take that play off, if you happen to take that play off, you've ruined the moment. So, it's incumbent on us, and I guess that's about as big a rule that I've learned, or just something that by discipline you got to force yourself, knowing that literally every single play, it could be the turning point, it could be the play of the game, and there are no mundane plays. Every play leads to the next play and the call and something that could be. So that's always fun.
Ravens-Dolphins, Sunday, 1 o'clock on CBS. He's the great Kevin Harlan. He's with us on Glenn Clark Radio. Kevin, I want to talk about the game, but because you know how much I love you, I want to get one more with you if I could. We associate you with so many of our favorite calls. And in Baltimore, he is Houdini, will forever be maybe our favorites. We think of No Regard for Human Life. I mean, there's just so many of yours. Some people it's just as simple as, he's drunk, right? Like, we just associate you with so many wonderful calls. Do you have favorites? Do you have ones that, like, you look back on and you're like, man, I'm really glad I said that in that moment? Do any of them register for you in different ways?
I don't know, Glenn. I'd like to think that my best calls are ahead of me, and I appreciate that people appreciate those past calls that they have. Quite frankly, I much prefer doing a play like Lamar and that spin move to get free and dancing for that long rushing touchdown than I do for something weird happening on the field. So, there have been a couple Super Bowls when Malcolm Butler's interception at the goal line. Mm-hmm. I like that. The first thing I listen to when I hear those is, did I capture the moment? Did I have the right words? Did I let it breathe? Like, all these different, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but all these different components that I grade myself on every week when I watch and grade the games. And when there is a play like that, you just hope that you framed it the right way and given it what it deserves. And in the Jackson run a couple years ago in Cincy, you can't plan any of it. You can't. It's got to be organic, because those have been the best calls, or the ones I guess I've enjoyed and people have mentioned. if you write something down and think of a word, like I'm going to use this word somewhere, like if you do that, it sounds
forced,
phony, and it doesn't fit. Yeah, forced, exactly. So I'd rather these things just be organic. So when I go in the game, I'm not thinking of anything but like when I wake up in the morning, when I fall asleep the night before a game, make sure you got the right guy. Make sure you're keeping track of personnel, like all these other things. And what I'd like to think is that by making sure that all those little boxes are checked, that when the big box needs to be checked on a play, that you can, firmly put that mark in that box. Yep, we got that one. We covered it. Now, listen, some calls, don't require a lot of words because what you're watching is just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so those are the ones, it's feel, and it's just kind of relying on instincts. And, sometimes some days you've got it and some days you don't. It's not different than a quarterback or a pitcher. some days you've got your stuff, and some days, man, you're just dragging words out of your mouth. So I guess the way I begin is from square one. Make sure you've got all the, who's in, report. Make sure your strong voice and space and time for the analyst and like those things. And then hopefully, if that moment does arise, you're ready to crush it. And sometimes it can be with words, and sometimes it can be with silence, because a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Man, I feel like I'm talking to Leonardo da Vinci right now, Kevin. I hope you know that's how much I enjoy our chats. All right, you mentioned something earlier.
Thank you, Glenn.
You were talking about perhaps an evolving Lamar Jackson, and it is interesting to me, right? Now, we had Brian Baldinger on yesterday, and he did a breakdown. He said, man, Lamar was really hell-bent on staying in the pocket against the Jets, and as I went back and watched, it's abundantly true. And there's still a part of me that says, hey, look, this guy has a skill set. I am not opposed to Lamar Jackson running. I might be the other thing. I might be the guy that wants him to run more, in part because I might get a he is Houdini moment out of it. And they nearly got one, his escapability on the sideline. It wasn't a big run or a touchdown run, but it was remarkable on third down on Sunday. But, do you sense that as you've been getting ready for this game? Do you see where it looks like Lamar Jackson might be a little bit more hell-bent on being the guy that hangs in the pocket, wanting plays to develop to show everybody what he can do as a passer?
I think, Glenn, it shifts week to week. I think he is deep in the Roman playbook, and I think he feels like, he's fully immersed himself in what Greg wants. And I think he gives them whatever they need on any particular play. I don't discount the number of years and snaps he's played in the game. I think he's incredibly smart with decisions on when to pull the trigger and burst. And I think he's very cognizant of staying in the pocket and being like that and those things. The problem with Lamar is not Lamar's problem. The problem with Lamar is our problem, not necessarily mine or yours, but just fandom and other people in the media. They want so badly for him to evolve into what maybe they think a quarterback should or shouldn't be. And that is that's just not right. They should not do that for this kid. Let him become this whatever he's going to be, this painting that is continually using new hues and colors and different textures, because we've not seen many guys like this before. We've seen imitations or not as refined quarterbacks like this. Mm-hmm. I say, let this kid be what he's going to be. Trust the process with his development. And if he stays in the pocket more, it's because maybe that's what the defense is allowing him to do. Maybe his offensive line is not having a good day, and he's got to scramble more. He's got to use a different, part of the pocket or outside the pocket to throw. Or maybe his receivers are going up against coverage that is so tight that he's got to buy them more time to maybe stem their run. There's 1,000 things on every play that are happening. And this kid, as all quarterbacks, have got to process it at lightning quick speed. And that is, I don't know many jobs in the world where you've got to process so much in such a short amount of time and then be graded on every one of those sequences, and there could be 80 of them in a game, and then we're talking thousands during the season. So like I know that the scouting book says I want the guy 6'6", and I want him to stand in the pocket, and I want him to sit there and make his 2 or 3 reads. That's great. If God gave you those abilities, that's great. But God gave Lamar Jackson so many special skills with his eyes and his mind and his feet and his arm and his body. Like he is an outlier, and you cannot try to categorize him in one thing. All he does is win. He's got unbelievable numbers. He's thrown for more and run for more yards than any other quarterback before him this far into their career. I mean, let's let the kid breathe. Let's let him just be what he's going to be. And if we're going to, each week decide right in the pocket or out of the pocket, that's going to be, that's not fair to him. This is just one man's opinion. I just don't think it's fair to him. And by the way, nothing against the way the Ravens have handled this money thing, and nothing against the way Lamar is maybe using Watson's contract with guaranteed money as his lead. But it's going to be more expensive at the end. And this reminds me of Flacco. Remember Flacco? He went to he didn't sign the deal, and he bet on himself, and he got to $22 million a year, and that's exactly what Lamar's doing. He's betting on himself. And you know what? If I were a guy betting, I'd bet on Lamar Jackson. I'd say he'll be so motivated. He will be unbelievable. I think he's in store for a great. Now maybe the numbers weren't great opening. They won. All that matters is he wins.
Well, and he made some really unbelievable throws, as you point out. The one to Bateman, the first touchdown to Duvernay. God, there was no space there. Threaded the needle. Can you've had a lot of these. We've had conversations with Lamar, but you've had a lot of those night before conversations. Kevin, there's something made of. Does this get awkward at some point, right? Like there's this secondary scenario in the background, which is, will this situation between Lamar and the Ravens create an amount of awkwardness? You've had a lot of conversations over the years from doing Ravens games with Lamar in those settings. Do you see any reason to think that at some point, it becomes a problem behind the scenes this year, and then that bleeds out into what we see on the field on Sundays?
No, I just hope they've got the money to pay him. I hear you. Because the price is going up. Every win, that price goes up. And there's not another quarterback like him. And he's clearly the kind of kid that is not causing ripples outside the building. I think that he is exactly what they want inside the building. He is loved by, what more do you want? He wins. He appears to be a good citizen. He appears to be the ultimate teammate. I mean, you start looking at, if you look for flaws, you're sometimes just treading water and getting yourself in a deeper issue. And I don't see that. I don't see that. I find him a sweet kid to be with across the table. I find him with a pleasant personality. I sense that his pulse is so slow. And he does not blink. It does not flutter. He is a steely guy. And I think he's got the right coach for him in Harbaugh. I love the way that Roman, and I think Roman goes to bed every night thinking, what more can I do? I think he wakes up in the middle of the night after he's probably gone to the bathroom, like all of us at this age. He probably lays awake at night thinking, all right, let's see. Now, if I put him over here and I give him this, and, he's probably thinking, man, oh, man, and probably can't go to sleep and gets up and starts drawing up plays. And how lucky is he? And how lucky is Lamar that he's got a guy that cares so much about him and his plays and what he makes him into, how he assists Lamar becoming who he's eventually going to be. And what he is just a terrific young quarterback, but he's different. He's different than Josh Allen, and he's even a little different than Mahomes and different than Rodgers and Brady, and those are our Manning, and those are all the things in our mind we're trying to think, but compare. That's wrong. Knock that sentence out. He's not going to be that. And thank goodness he's going to be himself. Manning didn't try to be anybody. Brady didn't try to be anybody. I mean, he watched Montana certainly, and And we know Peyton watched probably his dad and others, but no, or Johnny Unitas, it was one guy that he said he watched. But they were who they were. We've not seen anyone like Aaron Rodgers. We've not seen anyone like John Elway. I say just let the kid develop into what he's going to develop, and it may be a different shade or form every year. But that's kind of the beauty of what you've got to watch in Baltimore.
Boy, we could do this for an hour. I know I've got to let you go in a minute. If I could, just because, Kevin, there is another team in this game, and you mentioned Tyreek Hill is there. This is a good I think there were some people around Baltimore like, yeah, the Ravens look good, but it wasn't like exhilarating, and it was the Jets. And, look around the league. As you pointed out, you just did the game in Seattle on Monday night. There's a lot of teams that thought they were winning games in week 1 that didn't. So we're good with the fact that the Ravens beat the Jets. But this does shape up to be a pretty good early season test for the Ravens as they try to, make a statement about where they are in the hierarchy in a loaded AFC.
Well, had they not had all those injuries last year, I think when Lamar went out, they were number one.
Yep.
Number one
seed 8-3, yeah.
In the AFC. I think that's your starting point. You think we don't know about Stanley, and then they lost a defensive back this past week, and I listen. And I know there's a change at receiver. I get all that, but I'm anxious to see the running back. I don't know if he's going to play this weekend, but the point is that they've got some real smart people who have navigated, a lot of cataclysmic injury to players and good players, and yet they were still breathing at the end of the season. Late in the year, they were in Cincinnati, and I think they were playing for first place in the division, if I'm not mistaken, and they were using a quarterback they had signed, earlier that week? Was it Josh Johnson?
Yes,
am I right?
Josh Johnson.
So,
nice call, yes.
Yeah. So I think the thing is here is that the NFL is very indiscriminate. They don't look. You are not touched golden by any thing in the schedule, about your opponent, about luck, or anything like that. You've just got to kind of hold on, and it's a bare knuckle, white knuckle ride, and it's a bare knuckle fight and a white knuckle ride, and that's kind of what it is. And you're surviving from one week to the next, and you hope there's not too much loss in player. You hope there's not too much loss in the column. You're just trying to survive and become what you're supposed to be. And if you are lucky at the end of the season, where you've got your starting quarterback standing, your main parts are there, your tackles, your cover guys, a couple skilled people on offense that make things happen, a little push in that interior line defensively, and all the things that you kind of have to need to make that run, then you should consider yourself very, very fortunate, because the war of attrition in this league is probably the number one thing everybody's watching for. Ask Pittsburgh and T.J. Watt, and ask the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott.
No doubt.
So it's tough, man. It is a tough league. But Miami is a team that I think is a solid ascending. I think they've figured out the quarterback thing. I think the Hill deal makes their offense explosive. And I think they've got playmakers on defense, and the Ravens will have every part of their hand full this weekend. This will be one of the better games, I think, in the NFL.
Kevin Harlan, it is always such an honor that you take this time for us, man, and you have been good to us for a very long time here. I ask you this question every time, and I always get a no, but I'm asking again. Is there anything else I can plug for you, my friends?
No. Just keep calling when I'm doing these Ravens games, and you'd be surprised some of the people you're on with throughout the week on shows like yours, Glenn, and that's when you begin to appreciate people like you, prepared, kind, conversational. There are some people you're on with around the country that are not that way, and you dread and you try to dodge those calls. When I see your phone number pop up on my phone, I quickly answer and am thrilled to be on, and always appreciate the time we have a chance to visit.
Kevin, I don't take it for granted. I hope you know that. Truly appreciate it. Can't wait for Sunday afternoon. Thank you as always, sir.
Glenn, great to talk to you. Great to hear your voice, and I look forward to the next time we can visit. Thank you so much.
It's the great Kevin Harlan joining us here on GCR. Appreciate him, as always, for taking the time for us. Hour number 1 of today's show is in the books, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Toyota to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. All right, coming up in hour number 2, we're going to make picks. We will get to that. I hear there might be a visitor stopping by ahead of that, and might be a visitor that I am particularly happy to see. We'll find out.
Okay.
Might be some food involved. Yeah, those are always my favorite days. Those are my favorite days. There's a new Oktoberfest menu at Glory Days Grill, and I don't know. Just a rumor. Just a rumor on these streets that maybe we might get the opportunity to try it a little ahead of time. That would make me very happy. Doesn't help anybody else that they just get to listen to us eat. Describe the taste. That's what we're going to do. But yeah, we will get to our picks for the week as well. That is on the way. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Experience the best in Kamado Grilling. A complete outdoor cooking appliance, the Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone from novices to grill masters to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. Constructed out of thick ceramic, the Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com. That's ginsugrills.com.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
That first sip, that first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Come in for Glory Burgers, Glory Wings. There's glory for everyone at Glory Days Grill. Enjoy their award-winning burgers, ribs, and wings, or try the fresh salads, hand-cut salmon, or the scrumptious sandwiches. Yum! Come in for the daily specials every weekday, like $7.99 burgers on Mondays and $6.99 nachos on Thursdays. Dine in and let us serve you, or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and take it home. That's glorydaysgrill.com for a location near you. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
The Maryland Lottery presents Ravens' Greatest Plays. It was called the Mile High Miracle, a 70-yard touchdown pass against Denver with 30 seconds left to send the game into overtime. The Ravens eventually won, propelling them to the championship. Another great Ravens play belongs to Diane from Annapolis. Diane played Ravens Scratch-Offs and won season tickets for 20 years. You could be next. Play Ravens Scratch-Offs with instant prizes up to $100,000. And please play responsibly.
Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show too.
Again, this seems really aggressive. I don't know what's going on there. Hi, it is Glenn Clark Radio, a Thursday edition of the program. We're going to get the picks a little bit later on this hour. Today's show also brought to you by the print issue of PressBox, which is available right now for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox, or read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. There's Mark Andrews. He's on the cover. Larger Than Life is the cover story from Bo Smolka about Mark Andrews' unlikely path to NFL stardom. Again, go pick that up Right now, the new print issue of Press Box. All right, a couple of things I want to get to really quickly. One, Matt Torper checked in this morning, and I love me some Matt Torper. He says, the fact that there's 3 wildcard teams and the Orioles only have to pass one of them makes it a tiny bit more likely they sneak into the playoffs. If the Orioles can finish a bit over 500, a meltdown by the Jays, Mariners, or Rays could get them into the wildcard. Yeah, we've talked about that. And it's why I can't say it's impossible. I just don't see any of those teams melting down in the way that's necessary. And it was better when the Orioles were chasing the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays were the team that you could say, hey, you could make some damage. That a reasonable scenario over these next 6 games you could play against the Blue Jays, if you were to win both series, just go 4-2, you can chop 2 games off of that. So if they were 4 games back of the Blue Jays right now, with the ability to chop 2 games off head-to-head, then you only have to overcome 2 other games during the course. And I would presume you'd have the tiebreaker in that scenario if you were to take 4 out of the next 6 from Toronto, considering how well they played against Toronto early in the year. I think that would mean they would have the tiebreaker. So that becomes, you can start doing some reasonable math in order to get there. If you only get 2 games back from the Blue Jays, if you go 4-2 against the Blue Jays, then you're only within 3.5 games. That's a lot to ask. And unfortunately, you just don't have the same opportunity with the Rays. Now, maybe the Rays still could go into some sort of a tailspin. I don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah, they lost 3 of the 4. They got the 5th game of this series against Toronto this afternoon. They lost 2 of 3 in New York, but now they go home for like a 10-game homestand, it looks like.
And who do they play?
They play the Rangers to start things off this weekend. Yeah. Then they got Houston and Toronto.
Okay, I mean, there you go. Like next week, and it's all at home.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a chance, there's your chance.
Orioles have the Tigers, and then they have Houston. So yeah.
I mean, again, I don't like the chances. I don't like it. I can't. Nothing is impossible, and there are other conversations that we continue to have. Does it matter?
Rays end the season on a 9-game road trip. So
okay. Again, I want to make it abundantly clear. I realize there is still time to erase a deficit, but it does require, because you don't have games, it requires one of 2 things. Either you significantly winning against the Blue Jays, winning 5 out of the 6, for example. If you do that, then you shave 4 games off of the 5.5, and then all you got to do is overcome a game and a half in the other games they play. That's obviously possible. But you got to take 5 out of 6 from the Blue Jays. It's a lot to ask. Means you have to win 2 out of 3 this weekend and then set yourself up to have to sweep the final series of the season. Sure, take the chances. I mean, if we get to the point where the Orioles are within 3 of the Blue Jays setting up, my God, it would be raucous. It would be electric. But you got to win all 3. That's a lot to ask. I mean, it's like being down 3-1 in a playoff series. It's happened. Of course, we know it's happened. But it ain't common. So, I get it. I do understand. The math says it can still be done. The likelihood of it still being done? Slim. Continues to be slim. You built yourself a significant hole. You need a lot of help, and you can't. It can't be that as they face the Blue Jays this weekend, they fall right back into their offensive troubles. And again, even last night against Patrick Corbin, who has stunk, the Orioles couldn't get anything going offensively. Thankfully, they finally did. But Patrick Corbin, who's been one of the worst pitchers in baseball this season, the Orioles mustered a run.
Almost not even, because that run, they should have got a double play to get.
Yes, correct. In 6 innings. You cannot. I wish I could be inspired. I wish I could feel that amount of hope. A month and a half ago, I felt a lot of it. Right now, I've watched this offense for too long. There's just not anybody. Right now, it's Gunnar. I take that back. Gunnar is clicking at the moment.
Hopefully, Mountcastle.
I hope.
Sees Blue Jays.
I hope that's the case. A lot of people talking about. I know that Dan Connolly had written about it before. It was pointed out that Nathan Ruiz wrote a piece about why Brandon Hyde should be manager of the year. I probably agree. Somebody told me that there's a record the Orioles have to go, and it's reasonable in order to clinch the greatest single season percentage turnaround ever. And that alone, whether you make it to the playoffs or not, probably should be enough to give you manager of the year. It's an awkward thing because, there's a world in which Brandon Hyde could be manager of the year, but yet the Orioles don't seem to be long-term necessarily committed to Brandon Hyde. It's still kind of an uncomfortable thing. What do the Orioles think? What does Mike Elias think of the job that Brandon Hyde's done this year? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I just don't. I have no clue how the Orioles, as an organization, feel about it. And if they feel like he's earned the right to see this through, to be the guy moving forward to lead the Orioles. I don't know those answers. So it's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting kind of juxtaposition of a guy that deserves serious praise because he is the manager of the team that had such a significant turnaround. But at the same time, there are still Orioles fans who don't know how they feel about whether or not Brandon Hyde should be the guy long term and who have questioned decisions that have been made. And I've said before, I've been willing to defend Brandon Hyde. I think sometimes his hands are tied. I mean, there's only so many guys that you can put in. There's only so many pitchers they have in the bullpen. There's only so many bats that they can turn to. I think it's easy to criticize the way that a lineup looks.
Jesus Aguilar.
I mean, I get the argument. There's another argument that's been made. I know the guy from Orioles Hangout was going on about how the Orioles should just recognize that it's over and stop playing guys like Aguilar altogether. Stop playing anyone who isn't Rougned Odor, anyone who's not part of this moving forward. I'm like, what? What? Trust me, I don't think they're getting into the playoffs, and I still think that's insane. I mean, I'm not telling you that Aguilar needs to be in the lineup every day. What, he's had 2 hits since he joined the Orioles? I mean, I'm not an Aguilar guy. But the idea that they're supposed to wave the white flag and stop playing guys altogether and just put young players on the field, I don't know I have no clue where that comes from. If you want to say, hey, I don't think he's helping them win, okay. We can talk about that because I think that argument is well formed. I think the evidence tends to back up that argument that Aguilar isn't helping them win. So, I get that, but the idea that you can't play those guys, I have no idea where that comes from. Another topic, I just chimed in about this on Twitter, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. It used to be very popular at Maryland basketball games, and to a lesser degree football games, around the time that I was in college, for the Maryland band to play the song Rock and Roll Part 2. You all know the song. Na-na-na-na, hey! And then, of course, what all the Maryland fans chant back? You suck. We're gonna beat the hell out of you, and you, and you, and you. Trust me, I promise you it was something that I repeated and chanted over and over and over again as a young man. Rudy Gersten, who's a big D.C. sports fan and a big Maryland guy, points out that they're apparently bringing it back at football. They brought it back for basketball last year. They're going to bring it back for football this year. Rock and Roll Part 2 will be played by the UMD band at home football games for the first time since 2003 after returning to men's basketball games last season. Maryland football was 19-1 its last 20 home games when the song was banned in 2004. Of course, the teams were better then. I'm not sure if you knew who the players were. I think that maybe E.J. Henderson had a bit more to do with why it was that they went 19-1 in those games than the fact that they played this song. I am admittedly conflicted by it. I'm not trying to be too negative about it. Gary Glitter's a monster. I don't think the Maryland band would play an R. Kelly song at a game. I don't think so. I think most of us in culture stopped. Like, I loved doing the remix to Ignition as a karaoke song. But you know what I would never do again? The Ignition remix. Because I understand that R. Kelly's a monster. Gary Glitter, it doesn't get nearly as much publicity. Gary Glitter, because he was a one-hit wonder, because he wasn't as significant in culture, though this song certainly was, is also a monster who has been accused of truly heinous things involving children. I know it was a tradition. I know it was something that Maryland students and fans like doing, but if I'm being honest, I don't think it has anything to do with whether they win or lose. I don't think it's the singular reason. You can create new traditions. Winning helps that, creating new traditions. I know that Maryland's trying to go great lengths to get a big crowd at the game on Saturday night for SMU because they know SMU's good. This is a tough matchup. I know that they're giving away like free tickets to kids, and they're literally having Mike Loxley ask people to come out to the game on Saturday night. And I get it. They want a great atmosphere. They believe they're building something. They're trying to get people to come out and support it. But I think I would avoid this. All right. We have more important, more pressing matters to get to. I've been waiting for this for some time. I'm very excited about it. Tim, you just want to come on in, my friend? Griffin, can you help Tim out? We have the pleasure of having my friend Mr. Tim Diggs from Glory Days Grill stopping by the studio here at Press Box, and that makes me very happy. I like Tim. No offense to you, sir. But what I really like is that he brings gifts. He always brings gifts for us. Tim Diggs, go ahead, have a seat for a second. Let's say hello. It is great to see you. You know I am a huge fan of your work. You understand that entirely.
Yes.
Thank you for stopping by the studio.
Absolutely. Great to see you guys again.
Tim, every time there's a new seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill, I start like licking my lips in anticipation of what's coming. I know it's Oktoberfest season. What will we find on the Oktoberfest menu at Glory Days Grill?
We have the Brewer's Platter.
That's you just need to say those words, and I'm good. That's all I need. Just those words. I'm good. Go ahead, I guess.
Then we have the Brewer's Platter. That comes with our homemade mashed potatoes, stone grain mustard, sauerkraut, and our famous Bavarian soft pretzel. We also have our Brewer's sausage sandwich that has green peppers and onions on top of it with a pickle on the side with our stone grain mustard and those delicious hot fries. It's absolutely delicious. New to the mix, guys, this year is Bavarian burger with a pretzel bun. It's our award-winning steak burger with Swiss cheese and our famous, delicious grilled sauteed onions with our grain mustard and seasoned fries on the side, guys.
Please tell me you brought one of those.
And yes, I actually bought one for you. Especially for you, my friend.
Griffin, I got bad news. You ain't getting none of it. You can enjoy this pretzel right here. I want you to know that I will let you enjoy. But that pretzel burger, that Bavarian burger on the pretzel bun, my friend, that's going to belong to your pal GC. That's where that is headed. Oh, my God. Anything else that we should know? Why don't we do a taste test as we're doing this? Why don't we start?
Let's do a taste test.
So, Griffin, I'm going to let you start with the pretzel. Now, remind me what the sauce is with the pretzel.
The pretzel is the cheddar ale soup that we have.
Oh, my God. That sounds so good. This is, Griffin's going to try to show it to everybody.
It's a rich and creamy cheddar soup, guys.
I'm telling you.
Served with our warm Bavarian pretzel.
So, Tim,
comes together.
Fall is my favorite season to begin with.
Oh, wow.
And it goes a long way with the foods of fall. It goes a long way with associating with Oktoberfest and sausage. I am a connoisseur of tubed meats. I am a connoisseur. People make fun of me all you want. I got to deal with it. I've been out with people, and they're like, look at – I don't care. I'm going to eat some sausage because sausage is delicious. And I've had the Brewer's sausage platter at Glory Days Grill before. I have enjoyed it. You dipping it in the soup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the play, right? That's the play, Griffin. That's the play. I need to find this burger. I need that burger in my mouth more than I need air to breathe. Sorry, I'm not trying to push you.
Oh, it's okay.
You're a great man. I need you to know that. You are one of my favorite human beings alive.
It's absolutely
but
delicious.
I have been thinking about this burger since I heard that it existed. I have been waiting. Oh my! Look at that. That's the sausage platter. Oh my God. Oh. I got a little bit of a situation here because I want that and I want the potatoes and I want all of it. Oh, that's the schnitzel. That's what that is. That's the schnitzel.
So we have the chicken schnitzel today, guys.
Look at this bounty. Griffin, I might need a fork or something. I might need a knife. I might need some sort of... There's the burger. Oh, all right, we got forks. We're okay. Perfect. Look at that burger. Oh, and the pretzel bun. Griffin, take pictures. Look at... I'll never be this happy again in my life. I'm sorry. I hope my kids don't hear that. I hope my children are not listening. And that's the sausage sandwich with the look at that! Just look at it! I'm so happy. I'm so happy right now. I've never been happier in my life. Again, please don't let my wife find out that I said those words. I'll never be this happy again in my life. Look at all of this. You might want to do like a panoramic shot of some sort. You might want to do or come over to this side. Come over to this side and try to shoot it that way. Oh my God. Tim!
Yes. We will not tell.
All right, so the menu is available right now.
Correct.
It is available as of yesterday, correct?
Yes.
And how long do people have in order to get to the Neighborhood Glory Days Grill to enjoy this?
It's normally just throughout the fall season.
All right.
Gotta come and try it, guys. Absolutely
John
delicious.
Colson, if you think you're getting any of this, you're wrong. There's no chance. This one's from me. He's not even paying attention, that jerk. All right. I'm going. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a little sausage and a little potato as well. That's the first play for me here. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Griffin, you're doing a great job on the camera. Again, I'm so sorry that you're not going to be able to enjoy any of this food. I hope you enjoyed that pretzel, though.
I can't try any of that.
I'll think about it.
The pretzel's really good.
I'll think about it, but if I'm being honest with you, I'm inclined to say no. I'm inclined to say no. Not much of a sharer. All right, a little bit of potato. And then the sausage. Get us out of that. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's just so good. My God. Tim.
Yes. Absolutely delicious.
I need to know. This is very important.
Yes.
I need to know if there's a limit. When I go over there and I say, I want... Now, this one, remember, it's the Brewers... This is the Brewers sausage platter.
Correct.
Right? When I go over there and I say, I want to order 17 Brewer sausage platters for me, is there going to be a problem with that? Or?
No problem at all. We're ready.
All right. Oh, my God. All right, Griffin, I'll let you. Go ahead. You dive into that. All right. You know, it's morally opposed. It's against my religious beliefs to allow Griffin to participate. Because I got all this wonderful food in front of me. Remind me what, it's onions, Swiss cheese on the burger?
Yes.
Oh, my God. What a perfect combination.
Yes.
It's like you have a window into my soul. This menu is for me. It's like literally you made a menu that was for Glenn and Glenn only. I swear. Football season, I know, big time over at Glory Days Grill as well.
Big time right now.
Huge atmospheres on Saturdays and Sundays. And the cool part, of course, too, is that you can have your own little sound system right where you're sitting.
Correct. And then you also can actually download it on your phone through AutoFetch.
Wait a second.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
So you're saying if I came with other people,
correct,
we could all have the sound on for whatever game we most care about on that.
Correct. And it's also played on Mondays and Thursdays as well.
This is mind-blowing to me.
We play every team.
Oh, my God. So I come over on a set. I know college football. I feel like, is it Ohio State? I feel like there's some big booster group that always gets together at Glory Days Grill.
It is. And now, which is interesting, on Sundays, we actually have a Cleveland Brown following.
That's funny. That's really funny. The way
that has the whole patio
maybe it's
every
the same
Sunday.
group of people. That's the way that it works out.
Yeah.
All right. We'll let them. We'll give them a pass.
Yes.
We'll give them a pass.
Yeah, give them a pass.
Right?
Give them a pass.
And it's actually, wow, they really get into it. Like, I've been over there during Ohio State games. Like, they are losing their minds at the Glory Days Grill over here. I'll forgive them. I'll forgive them. They can be good and decent people. Some of them anyway. Some of them maybe not so much. But you come in with a friend who's maybe an Ohio State fan. You're, of course, a Maryland fan.
Correct.
You can sit down at the same table.
You can.
You have all the TVs on.
Correct.
You can pull out your phone.
Yes.
Hook up to the app. And everybody can listen and enjoy their own game.
Everybody can listen and join in.
Oh, I love that. All right, here we go. This is the pretzel. I'm opposed to eating a pretzel with a fork and knife, or eating a burger with a fork and knife, but because I am not an evil person and I want to allow everybody else to enjoy some of this burger, I'm willing to do it. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, my God. It like melts in your mouth. Oh, my God. Nope, I've changed my mind. You're not getting any of that. I'm sorry, Griffin. All right. I'll let you have first bite. I'll let you take, Griffin, you can have first bite of, because I had the first bite of the other sausage, the sausage sandwich with the peppers and onions, which is perfection, which is everything that you could ask for in life, and proof that there is a God, I believe. I'll let you have first bite over there. Oh. Dude, that burger. First of all, let me tell you something. A few years ago, I stopped eating bread. See, I did this time.
Oh,
For
yes.
you, because I believe in it.
Yes.
I stopped eating bread a couple years ago. One of the things I said is it wasn't that big of a deal for me to give up bread because a lot of times I find bread to be the worst part of a sandwich or to be the worst part of a burger because people don't care about the bread because it'll be hard. It'll be, the taste is not there. This pretzel bun melts with the burger in your mouth. It is, you digging right into the sausage. All right, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I got plenty of sausage over here. You're good. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. We're sacrificing the sausage sandwich to Griffin. Yeah. The combination of peppers and onions. You literally cannot beat that. That is outstanding. What's the sauce?
What is the sauce?
It's our stone grain mustard sauce.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had the stone grain mustard. It is really good. I'm gonna do the chicken schnitzel too. Since we're here, the chicken schnitzel. Oh, the zucchini. I love the zucchini. My God, again, I'm so sorry to anybody else who thought they were getting food today. It's just not going to happen. Your pals are going to eat all of it. It's the way it's going to be, and you're going to have to live with that. Tell me a little bit more about the chicken schnitzel.
So the chicken schnitzel comes with 2 hand-breaded chicken breasts, herbed with panko on our pan-breaded, fried until golden brown, with our cream mustard sauce, with mashed potatoes and fresh roasted zucchini and squash.
Let me take a little bite of that right there. I got good news, Tim. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me in the coming months. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me. Griffin, you have to try this burger. It's insane. It's absolutely bonkers. You have to try that burger. That is one of the most delicious things I've ever put in my mouth. Oh, my God. Tim, what else do people need to know about what's going on at Glory Days Grill right now?
I mean, more than anything else is that, on Sundays and Saturdays and Thursdays and Mondays, bring your family. It is a family atmosphere. We are having a good time at Glory Days. Come on by.
And, of course, you can always still put your to-go orders in. Look, the seasonal menu is wonderful, but there's still the wings, the ribs, the other burger.
Yes.
I mean, it's still the number 2 sauce remains. What else? Did anything else hold over? Did anything else that we learned about in the summer? Remember we talked about the pork belly?
No, we didn't do the pork belly this time. Yes. But I have some for you when you come over.
We're going to talk.
We'll make it happen.
That. Anything that did hold over that was available?
Not right now,
Okay.
no.
All right. That's all right. This is so good.
Yes.
That more than makes up for it, my friend. Yeah.
Pretzel
How you
bun.
feel about that?
Yeah, pretzel bun.
How you feel about that pretzel bun? That's insane, isn't it? That's insane. That is a high-end restaurant burger that you're getting. That is bonkers right there. That pretzel bun burger. That's the one. Tim, I don't want to take anything else away.
Yes.
That thing right there, we're going to fight about whether or not that needs to stay on the menu. I don't want that going away at the end of the fall seasonal menu because that is spectacular. I don't know what else there is to say. You light up my life every time I see your face.
Don't forget Oktoberfest too, guys.
100%.
Oktoberfest beer, and that is one of the most popular beers of Sam Adams. So come on by.
Have a nice cold Oktoberfest
Yes.
with this delicious Oktoberfest menu. I really wish I could end the show right now. I really wish that I could just sit here and eat for the next hour and do nothing more in relation to sports and conversation. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It's a problem for me, but I'll figure out a way to get by. GloryDaysGrill.com, as always, is the website. And people, if you want to host an event at Glory Days Grill, if you need to do something, one of the things I always talk about that I love most about Glory Days Grill, and I'm sure we're going to be back over again this December, is we have been involved for years with the coat drive that Drew Forrester and I do every year for Helping Up Mission. You guys have been so gracious and hosted us over there. So and I know how involved you are in the community.
Correct.
Somebody that needs to do a fundraiser, somebody's looking for a partnership. Is there a best way for them to reach out?
Yes. You can reach out to the store and just give me a call. And then if you're looking for a sponsorship, we're here for you.
I know how much it means. You have been extraordinarily involved in the community over the years and helped out with a lot of youth athletics, things along those lines. It means a great deal. Tim Diggs, you're one of my favorite humans alive. I hope you know that.
I appreciate that.
With a smile on my face when you walk in. It's resplendent. Appreciate you, my friend.
Okay.
Again, Glory Days Grill, glorydaysgrill.com is the website. We come back in. We'll make our picks. Then we'll get into Weekend at Bookies. That's on the way. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The 2022 baseball season is in full swing, and the future is brighter than ever for your Baltimore Orioles. I'm Paul Valley.
And I'm Zach Goodman.
And together we bring you the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon with everything you need to know about the Orioles and baseball as a whole. From veterans like Cedric Mullins, Austin Hayes, and Ryan Mountcastle,
to young stars like Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, and DL Hall.
We've got you covered for every game, every pitch,
and every debut.
You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or you can listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. So join us live on the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Come in for Glory Burgers, Glory Wings. There's glory for everyone at Glory Days Grill. Enjoy their award-winning burgers, ribs, and wings, or try the fresh salads, hand-cut salmon, or the scrumptious sandwiches. Yum! Come in for the daily specials every weekday, like $7.99 burgers on Mondays and $6.99 nachos on Thursdays. Dine in and let us serve you, or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and take it home. That's glorydaysgrill.com for a location near you. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest. And I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
Well, that is mean-spirited, John Colson. That is very mean-spirited. Hey, today's show also brought to you by the Tyus Bowser Show, which returns next Tuesday night. We will be at Skipjack's in Middle River. Hope that you will come join us. Tyus Bowser Show is a partnership of PressBox and Grade 8's memorabilia. It's brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Grill and Maryland Vascular Specialist. Come see us Tuesday night with Tyus and his special guest. Oh, boy. It tastes like sausage, so I don't mind it. Skipjack's in Middle River. We will see you there. PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser in order to find out more. Quickly, thank you again to Tim Diggs. My God, food is unbelievable. Oktoberfest menu now available at Glory Days Grill. We're going to do a quick version of picks this week. Ken Zalis is with us. KZ, what's going on, pal?
Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm all right. Am I just giving up on Cam Akers altogether? Like, what am I doing about that?
No, I think you got to see how it plays out. I think that was simply a coach trying to get a player's attention. Let's see how it works this week before we panic too much.
All right. I hope that's the case. I'm not going to play him, though, obviously, this week.
No, you can't play him. You can't trust him yet. But let's just see if the usage gets better.
All right. KZ and Kyle are tied atop the table after 2 weeks in picks. They're both 10-6. John Proctor 9-7. I'm an even 500, 8-8. Paul Valley and Griffin are 7-9. And despite a decent week, Andrew Stecca remains the worm at the moment, 6-10. Reminder that what we're playing for is a little bit of cash. A lot of you still owe me money. A little bit of cash, and what we're planning to do is to avoid being the worm, the one that has to eat the worm burger and perform the worm and dress up like the worm and then get a stink face. That's what's at stake. 3 college games, 6 NFL games. Let's move through it. Griffin, what's up first?
All right, first, we are staying here. First game in College Park, Southern Methodist. SMU Mustangs, they take on the Maryland
I saw
Terrapins.
that on the sheet. You said Southern Methodist. Nobody calls them Southern Methodist.
I wanted to
SMU.
make sure, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget when I said this. Okay. So that is Saturday night, 7:30 on Fox Sports 1. Maryland favored by 2.5.
I don't know. KZ is going to – I have no idea. This is the problem. SMU's offense is really good. It's really good, but they haven't played anybody either. It's a primetime game. It's at night. It'll be a big atmosphere. I'll take Maryland, but I don't feel good about taking Maryland. If this number was any bigger, if this number was more than 3, I would take SMU. It's really a pick 'em at this point. So because Maryland's at home, I'll give them the slight edge.
Man, did you bend over wide for that? I just want to know. That was really. I can't believe you took Maryland. Give me the Pony Express.
Yeah,
they have a good offense, like you said.
By the way,
I didn't like.
Ken is so anti-Maryland football that he didn't even know the name of the team that he was picking last week when he got his ass kicked. He kept calling them the Miners.
Whatever. I wasn't anti. Look, it looked good early. I don't even know what they were called. But they gave up that team that I didn't know who they are because nobody knew who they are. They gave up way too many points. The defense did not look good against them. Now you have a real team with a real offense. I'm a little bit worried about that.
Worried? You don't like them. All right, go get to the point. What's everybody else doing, Griffin? We got to fly.
Sorry. So I'm on Maryland. Glenn, you said you're on Maryland?
Yes, I'm on
Maryland.
Maryland.
I'm on Maryland. Everyone on Maryland except for Ken and John Proctor.
There you go. That's
and Stecca.
Oh, better news for me. Better news for me.
So Proctor, Stecca, and Ken on SMU.
So
all right, next up we have BYU, Brigham Young Cougars at the number 25. They're number 12. BYU is number 12.
I have no idea when that happened.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't know when that happened.
I don't know anything about either of these teams. Oregon's ranked number 25. That is Saturday at 3:30 on Fox. Oregon Ducks favored by 3.5.
I mean, you give me 3.5, and everybody thinks BYU's good. I guess. I don't really know. I know that they've been building something. I saw them the COVID year against Navy, and they looked like monsters. But that was when they had Zach Wilson. They're clearly building something at BYU. Oregon looked like a disaster against Georgia, but to be fair, that's Georgia. Maybe the smart money is on Oregon, but giving me the 3, you said it's 3.5, right?
Yes.
Give me the 3.5 to play with. I'll take BYU.
I actually don't remember who I took here, but I feel like BYU does this to us every year early in the season. Like they beat somebody you weren't expecting them to beat, and all of a sudden they're near the top 10, and then they disappear somewhere. I'm going to take Oregon because of that.
Yes, he had Oregon. So I'm on Oregon.
To Ken's
Proctor.
point, the reason why they beat Baylor, that was the thing that got everybody hot and
right.
They beat Baylor, albeit in overtime.
I'm on Baylor, Baylor. I'm on Oregon. Ken's on Oregon. Proctor on Oregon. Everyone else on the Cougars and BYU.
Don't like that. That means I've got Stecca. Never like being on the same page as Stecca.
Last college football matchup for this weekend. Number 6, Oklahoma Sooners will travel to Lincoln, take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. That is at noon on Fox. Oklahoma favored by 10.5.
As insane as it is, I actually buy into what everybody's preaching this week, that while Nebraska has been losing, they don't typically lose. They don't get blown out. And then there's just are they inspired by the coaching change thing? I can't believe I'm doing this, but that's what all of the smarks tell you to do. Give me Nebraska.
I can't believe this is only a 10.5 point spread. Nebraska has looked awful, and coaching change or no coaching change can't fix bad in a week. Give me Oklahoma.
Ken is on Oklahoma, Paul on Oklahoma, Proctor on Oklahoma, Kyle on Oklahoma, me and Glenn on Nebraska, Stecca on Nebraska.
No! It's a very bad week.
All right, transitioning to the NFL tonight.
Today's picks also brought to you by our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. You can go there to bet on all of these games, and what I would do is listen to what it is that Steck is doing and then bet the exact opposite of those things. FanDuel Sportsbook, Live Casino and Hotel. Of course, they're also using some free bet action right now when you make your parlay bet. You can find out more. Just walk up to the window and say, hey, how do I get a free bet? They'll explain it to you in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel.
All right, tonight, Thursday Night Football, the debut of Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. Kansas City hosts the Chargers. 8:20 is kickoff. Kansas City favored by 4.5.
I bet against the Chargers last week, and I paid for it, but it is a Thursday night road game. 4.5. All right, I'll bite Chargers.
Yeah, give me San Diego.
It's probably not going to be San Diego, but I hear you.
I'm on Chargers. Everyone on Chargers except for Proctor and Stecca.
Thank God.
Yeah, 4.5's a lot. When they got Harrison Butker, I don't think he's not playing. I don't trust their kicker. I like Chargers 4.5.
All right.
Patriots at Steelers Sunday 1:00 on CBS. The Patriots favored by 2.5 on the road.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I guess.
Wait, this? Are you for real? The Patriots are minus 2.5?
Yeah.
It's probably a trap, but Steelers. What am I missing?
Well, what you're missing is their best defensive player won't play.
Well, I understand
when this line came out, we still don't know for sure if Najee Harris is going to play. He says he's going to play.
That's the word.
But
did you see the Patriots in Week 1? They couldn't do anything.
Mac Jones might not even play, right?
Until he practices, this line's not going to move. I think it's a trap too, but I'm getting the Steelers at home with points. I'll take that most times.
I will also take the Steelers at home. Everyone on Steelers except for Paul Valley.
Ooh, how about that?
Okay.
Next up, Tampa Bay.
It's not good news. It means that Steck is on our side. We don't like that.
Tampa Bay taking on the New Orleans Saints, 1:00 on Fox. Tampa Bay favored by 2.5 on the road.
I mean, it's tricky because this is supposed to be like the Saints, the darlings, the NFC South. They're the team that's supposed to be able to come up and do this, but they struggled to beat the Falcons. Give me the Buccaneers.
Yeah, we don't know. A lot going on with the Bucs this week. Where's Tom Brady at? Mentally, physically, I think he's fine.
Yeah, who cares? Right.
I do. It's a big story. It's the biggest story in sports.
You picked against them in
Week
1.
Who did?
You did.
Well, I'm not going to be stupid enough to do that again. Then I'll take Tampa.
Yeah.
Saints always play Tampa tough, so I'm taking the Saints at home in this divisional matchup. Also on the Saints, Kyle and Stetka.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
In the 4:00 window for 4:05 on Fox, San Francisco 49ers, after the Monsoon Bowl, they host the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers by 8.5.
Boy, that's tough, right? Because the 49ers didn't look good. Meanwhile, the Seahawks coming off a big win, and then you see this huge number, 8.5, and you're like, I don't know, Geno Smith. The truth is, Seattle did everything in their power to lose that game. They did everything they could. We can give them credit, but, my God. Let's not forget, the Broncos were 2 yards away from 14 points in the second half, and then the debacle at the end of the game. I'm gonna stay San Francisco. I know it's a big number, but San Francisco.
Yeah, I hate this number, and this may be a change from what I sent earlier, but Seattle didn't do a thing in the second half at all.
Correct.
So this is a better defense. San Francisco, like you said, they played in that monsoon, so I don't take anything from that. I'm actually going to take the 49ers as well.
All right, Ken changes his mind. He said Seahawks last night. He'll take the 49ers along with Glenn, myself, and Proctor, everyone else on the Seahawks.
Okay, all right, we're good with that. We're good with that. That's okay.
4:25 on CBS, Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson and Broncos Country host the Houston Texans, Denver by 9.5.
I don't like that number. I'm struggling with this, though. We at some point we have to acknowledge Davis Mills played well last year. He looked good in Week 1. I'm not trying to tell you that I think the Texans can do anything because they still don't have much of a roster. But at some point we got to start to acknowledge that Davis Mills might be an NFL quarterback. Maybe. I'm not proclaiming anything, but he might be. The Denver thing is goofy, right? Because they can't be as bad as they were last week, right? They can't be. I just think the number's too big. Give me Houston to cover.
Yeah, I think, you look at the game, everybody looks at the 1 week game. They're two all-pro running backs, basically, both fumbled at the one.
Right.
Otherwise, that's a 13-point game in their favor, and it's not very close. I'm going to take Denver because of it. I think there were so many reasons that was a wonky game with Russell going back to Seattle and the crowd and all that and emotion. I think that they're the better football team, and the number's big, but Houston on the road, no thank you.
I hear you. I'm starting to buy into Davis Mills, man. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I love Davis Mills. I have him in my dynasty leagues all over the place. Yeah. I think he's terrific.
I'm with you, KZ, as is everyone else but Glenn. You were lone wolf on the Texans.
Whatever I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
Miami Dolphins at the Baltimore Ravens. This is the final one of this week's slate. 1 p.m. on CBS. Kevin Harlan on the call. Ravens by 3.5.
I wish it wasn't 3.5. I really wish it wasn't 3.5. Here's the funny part. Both teams got kind of emphatic wins in week 1, but I think both teams would probably say they didn't love how they played, or think that they should play better than they played in week 1. So the question is, which team is more likely to start playing that way? It's trending, like J.K. Dobbins a full participant in practice yesterday, so you hope that leads to J.K. Dobbins being on the field, but is he on the field in a pitch count, and how much can the run game really get going if he is? Obviously, we remember what happened a year ago. I think the Ravens win the game, but the 3.5 is just enough. I am going to take the Dolphins to cover.
Death, taxes, and the Ravens blowing out the Dolphins. Book it.
I mean, did you watch the game last year?
No.
I mean, yeah, good for you.
I
It's a better scenario.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I know nothing.
It was one of the worst games in Ravens history.
Who are you taking, Glenn?
No.
I'm taking.
It wasn't the worst game. That would be the 49er game or whatever it was.
I would say it was probably the Jaguars game in London.
Maybe.
I took the Dolphins to cover.
All right, you're taking the Dolphins. You and John Proctor are on the Dolphins. Everyone else?
You got Stetka.
On the Ravens.
On you. All right, KZ. We'll have more time next week. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, man.
Ken Zalis at Fans Fantasy on Twitter. Checking in with us. Picks were also brought to you today by Guilford Hall Brewery. They've got a huge Oktoberfest party coming up on September 24th, 1 week from this Saturday. It's free to get in, free admission, but there are some VIP experiences available, and all you can drink ticket for $30, and this is a 12-hour party, and all you can eat and drink ticket for $80. Come enjoy Oktoberfest at Guilford Hall Brewery, one of our city's great gems. I mean, hidden gem, 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North. Find out more, guilfordhall.com. Could we save Tidbit for tomorrow?
Yeah, we can.
It'll hold?
Yeah,
okay.
It'll hold.
All right. I appreciate that just because we are running low on time. If we had done a Tidbit today, it would have been brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star. See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Tubular brought to you by the Ginsu Kamado Grill, coming soon. The perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all kinds of food. Get the details and reserve yours today at ginsugrills.com. And if you're going to the game on Sunday, Mother's is throwing another tailgate party right next to the stadium at Hammerjacks on Russell Street. Come by, starting at 9 a.m., before, during, and after every Ravens home game. It's free to get in. There's an all-inclusive option for $49 with premium brand, open bar, and great food. Tickets and details available at hammerjacks.com. But while you're there, don't forget to stop by the Press Box Ginsu Grills tent for free samples and contests. Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Again, Amazon Prime for Chargers Chiefs at 8:15. The PLL did a documentary.
Oh, sick.
No, it looks pretty propaganda-ish. It's called Fate of a Sport.
What are they going to do?
Which I think is way over the top. But if you want to watch it, it's showing it tonight on ESPN at 7 o'clock. Cool. Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. By the way, in favor of the league, just don't love the Fate of a Sport. No. And we have to say something. You can't just let that stand.
Well, if somebody else watches it, they're like, whoa, the Fate of what
Stop.
Sport?
Las Vegas Aces, Connecticut Sun. Game 3 is the Aces try to sweep the Sun in WNBA Finals tonight at 9 on ESPN. Everything else you can find at glennclarkradio.com. One thing we should point out at all.
Atlanta, the final season premieres tonight on FX.
That's right. So, very good. Yep. Everything else, again, glennclarkradio.com. Thanks today to the great Kevin Harlan. Thanks to John Congemi. Thanks to Tim Diggs from Glory Days Grill for stopping by. Thanks to KZ. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the tab at glennclarkradio.com. By the way, probably not a good decision that I just ate all that food when I have to pose naked tomorrow. Just probably not the best decision I've ever made in my life. Tomorrow, Stan the Fan will be in studio with us. Trent Green will join us. He is also on the call for Ravens-Dolphins on CBS. Bo Smolka from PressBox will check in with us, stuff and things. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, Costas Inn, the Maryland Lottery, Guilford Hall Brewery, Great 8's Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Grill, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.